Welcome back to episode 3 of Premside Pod. I'm Aaron.
Adam, great to have you guys back here with us. A lot to unpack here today, Jeffy.
What a week of football it's been.
UCL, oh my days.
What game should we talk about?
Listen, City-Liverpool, there's a lot to unpack there. Let's start off with the other fixture, Liverpool-Villarreal. But before I say anything, listen, Villarreal, without Gerard Moreno, their star striker, going to Anfield, it's tough to play at. It's tough to play, and I think the result really shows that.
I mean, did they just not put up a fight though? I mean, it was such a boring game. I thought Villarreal were so poor. Honestly,
I mean, they were. Not a single shot on target, only one shot the whole game.
Liverpool just pinning them in their own half the entire game, and I think when you get that far, you got to be a little bolder. I think we saw Diego Simeone, like he didn't adjust his tactics against City, and you shouldn't necessarily adjust your tactics, but I think you got to go for it a little.
I agree. I think they showed Liverpool way too much respect in this game, and not even that. I was looking forward to seeing some really exciting counter-attacking play from Villarreal. And it just didn't happen. But then, yet again, I think a lot of that has to go to Liverpool's shape. Like, the pressing was incredible. You saw Trent and Robbo high up the field, and they bossed the game. And never mind, Thiago Alcantara getting the man of the match. He really crushed it.
So class, yeah.
So class. Really can't get over that buy and let him go.
Yeah, and interesting point. I mean, on a free, nonetheless.
On a free, wow. Free transfers really coming to haunt me these days. Rudiger officially leaving Chelsea. That's an absolute killer. But, back to the game, like, Liverpool, it's a cakewalk to the final, I think. I mean, is it fair to say that this tie is all wrapped up?
I think Villarreal is going to have to get a goal within the first 20 to 30 minutes back at home. Unai Emery, he's always got something up his sleeve, but they're gonna have to come with an intensity that they didn't have in the first leg.
Definitely, they're gonna have to push. And in their last tie against Bayern, I think they only scored 2 goals the whole time.
Yeah.
So definitely we're gonna have to see a lot more goal scoring from Villarreal. They have a lot to work on, but I wouldn't put it past them. I think they're fighting, especially for Champions League. Doesn't look like they're gonna get it next season. I believe they sit 7th in La Liga. Listen, I think they just have to put all their cards on the table and go for it. We know what they're capable of. They've beaten great opposition. They've beaten Juventus. They've beaten Bayern. We know it, but we know what they're capable of. But it's gonna be a big ask, and this Liverpool team is really flying on all cylinders.
Yeah,
with their quadruple hopes very much alive.
Quadruple hopes still alive. If City have something to say about it,
definitely.
Let's talk about that game a little bit. What a match it was!
Oh my God! After seeing that game, I needed to take a breather. That was intense stuff.
Could have been 6 for City. I think
City were all over them.
All over them.
And
I think
2-0 up in the opening 15 minutes.
Yeah, and I think we saw this against Chelsea too. We saw it against PSG. The thing Real have, they have that X factor player in Benzema that can just pop up.
Wow!
Just scored. What a penalty! By the way.
What a pen! Missing his last two.
To step up.
He stepped
Crucial
up.
Goal, by the way. If going back to the Bernabeu, down 2 goals, I think would have been a much different task than only one.
And aside from his penalty, what a finish for his first goal!
Finish.
That was tough. And let's give credit to Vinny too. Really made Fernandinho question his career with that one.
Pep had to stick him at right back. All respect to Fernandinho.
Vinny though, what a goal!
Got
what a goal
from
the halfway line and just sent it straight down the byline. Wow.
They're not going to be friends anymore.
I don't think so. That
Brazilian squad.
That Brazil camp's going to be fun. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, but I mean, I think we just saw Pep City just at full force in that match.
Full force.
I think brilliant decision to start. Gabriel Jesus. I thought he was class
with his first goal, being able to bring it down.
But I mean, I think we saw it, and we've seen it for so long with City. It all links through KDB. Everything City do, Mahrez passes the ball to KDB in the middle. KDB is unbelievable ability to carry the ball progressively.
He's the architect of that team. He's the catalyst. Everything just goes through KDB.
Yeah.
And never mind Phil Foden, great showing with him, bagged himself a great header. That team, they're really just operating, at full capacity, full force.
Yeah. Second leg's going to be interesting.
super interesting. 4-3, totally winnable for Real Madrid. They could
Yeah,
step it up. I mean,
I
listen,
think
look,
City are gonna take it, but it's gonna be definitely ties not over.
I don't know. I'll surprise you. I'll surprise you guys. I really think that Real Madrid's
Nah,
gonna come out with an upset. Listen,
nah.
listen. Look at that Chelsea tie. I love my Blues. Chelsea absolutely bossed on that tie. You looked at the stats. Chelsea were all over them, but Real
So were
Madrid,
City.
but Real
City were just exponentially way
Real
over
Real
them.
Madrid took their chances. Listen, we said Benzema's the X factor. They have Vinny. They have Toni Kroos. They have the players. And Carlo Ancelotti. Listen, he's a great manager. I wouldn't put it past Real Madrid. It's definitely going to be a super, super, super exciting
Yeah,
second leg at the
I mean,
Bernabeu.
I gotta back City. I think Pep is he
Mhm,
wants that UCL. He's gonna
mhm,
get it. They
mhm,
play too fluidly, and I think they
mhm.
picked that Real team apart. Yeah, one player on that team, Phil Foden, and I want to get into this. I feel like
This is an
people
exciting debate.
this was the hottest debate probably a year ago, but
Definitely
I
up
think people
leading up
haven't
to the
really talked
Euros.
about it as much now. Foden or Mount? I mean, as a Chelsea fan, there will
Mhm.
be some bias there,
I mean,
but I'm inclined to probably agree with you and side with Mason Mount just based on the fact that Mason Mount can be a focal point of a team. He can defensively contribute. Um, he's had more goal contributions this season than Phil Foden. And
mm,
I think Foden kind of he just we don't see him do it as much as he could. He kind of just camps out on that wing for City sometimes,
mm.
going back and forth a little bit. No disrespect to Foden, like what he does is unbelievable. But I think Mason Mount just he also has a UCL under his belt. So I think right now, based on where these players are, I would take Mason Mount.
I mean, I agree certainly. And there's a really interesting, stat that I came across a couple days ago. In Mason Mount's first 100 Premier League games, and Frank Lampard only had 28 goals and assists, whereas Mason Mount, I believe, is at 42. And by no means am I saying that Mason Mount is better than Frank Lampard, but what I am saying with this, stat is that he's had an incredible start to life under the Premier League, and he's showing great promise.
Hmm.
And going back to that England Euro 2020 side, he started over Jack Grealish. Like people, I think he deserves more credit for that. Grealish is an incredible player. Say what you will about his season at City, but coming to that England team, he was one of the stars, and Mason Mount fully took that starting job from him. And it just shows, Mason Mount can really do things on both ends of the pitch. He can go back on defense, he can bring the ball up, and he can also be a lethal finisher. So, I think I'm gonna have to go with Mason. Look at him. He's been clinical this season. He's had hat tricks against Norwich. I know. You're gonna say that he's just stat padding, but he's
Yeah,
really
but he
proven
scored some
himself.
big goals too.
Listen,
Of course, against
Against
Real.
Real Madrid, that was a great goal. Leading the comeback. It was in vain, but nonetheless, he's been there. Scored a great Champions League goal against Porto last year. He's definitely a focal point of that Chelsea team. And then, but listen, both players super young, really exciting for that England team in the future. Just great talent in their ranks. Also, so much young talent, including Bukayo Saka. Also, that England team is really, really, really just stacked with
Very
talent.
stacked. Um,
And like let's talk about Mount's Chelsea team for a bit. This is definitely a transitional period for us. Rudiger officially leaving, Christensen highly linked to Barcelona. It's going to be an eventful transfer window, but with our two favorite teams, like where do you think they stack head to head out of
all
curiosity?
right, let's do it. Spurs, Chelsea combined 11. Starting with the keeper, I think
Mendy.
it's probably going to be Mendy.
It's going to be
I think Lloris has done more just in his career, but right at the moment, yeah, Mendy.
Listen, Mendy most clean sheets in the Champions League last year. He continues to help Chelsea out in those tough games. The back line, though, this is where it gets interesting.
Look, if you want to put Rudiger there, like you can. He's leaving next season. Like I think take out.
Rudiger goes in there, and I think easily.
All right, so
I don't think there's a debate about that. I think Rudiger slips straight into that starting 11. And then Thiago Silva,
and
fair to
then
say,
and then
37,
Romero and
proving
then
his worth.
Christian Romero.
I think so.
Right,
I think Romero's the good choice.
that's fair.
Moving on, both teams, really play like a 3-4-3 type setup, so it works out
Yeah,
really well.
yeah,
I think wing back, I'm gonna go with Choa. Listen, he's had his injuries, but when he's played, he's been class.
yeah.
He's been class.
Um,
Remember this, before Chilwell was injured, Chelsea was topping the league in December.
oh
He
yeah,
would,
Chilwell is class. I mean, we have Ryan Sessegnon. I think
but
a little bit more potential. Um,
Chilwell's young too.
yeah,
Chilwell's young too.
yeah. I mean,
Early 20s for him.
I think the midfield four would probably, with the wing backs included, I'd probably go Reece James, Chilwell, Kova, Conte. Probably
I
would be all
I
Chelsea.
I agree. I agree.
Um,
Listen, I love Georgie, but I think this season, especially Coach, has really just. I think he's been better. I think he's been better at progressing the ball. Jorginho's
yeah,
been a little bit consistent. I think next year is going to be a big year for him. His agent just came out saying that he's 100% staying at the club. So a little bit of a chip on his shoulder for Jorginho. He was tipped to win the Ballon d'Or last year, but exciting season ahead for him next year. And then going to the front three. Take it away.
yeah. I mean the front three. I think Kane and Son, they walk into that front three in a combined front three. I think that's fair. And then
But
the
then
third. I mean, I don't know. Like if I would go with Mason Mount,
I think that
Ziyech. I think I'd go Mount.
I,
I
th-
think I'd go Kane, Son, Mount.
I think so too. By the way, that's a strong.
It's a strong team.
That's a strong team. Can that team win? Can that team win the Prem?
Yeah. That team wins the Prem. Come on now.
I think so. I think
Let's run through that. Let's run through that. So, Mendy, Rudiger, who's leaving? I mean, I'm putting Eric Dyer in there. This is my team.
silly.
Mendy, Dyer, Thiago Silva, Romero, Reece James, Kova, Conte, Chilwell, Kane, Son, Mason Mount.
It's not
I
a
think
bad
that's
team.
pretty unbiased.
Eric Dyer. I'm not sold on.
Such an underrated center back.
Not
by the way.
not sold
He's
on
gonna
him.
make that England team. He deserves it.
Not sold on him fully. Not sold on him fully. Trevor Chalobah, maybe.
Maybe.
Listen, Trevo, what a player. Next year, he might even be in that starting 11 for all we know. Could be could be a very interesting one.
Yeah.
And
We were talking about. Let's shift subjects. We were talking about this a little bit earlier. I want to debate you on this. I don't think Bruno Fernandes starts on Spurs. I think if we have in a 3-4-3, where's the room for him in that team? He doesn't get in over Kane and Son. And then I think we need that third attacker needs to be like a winger, like Kulusevski or Bergvin. I don't think Bruno could fill that role.
I mean, I approach this debate a little bit differently. I look at Spurs as holding midfielders. I look at Højbjerg and I look at Bentancur.
Yeah, but Bruno would not work in a pivot like that. He would that just wouldn't work.
I mean, listen, like really.
By the way, he's not better. Like, ideally, we would have probably Betancourt with Ollie Skip, who's the best English youngster, probably in the Prem. Like the most underrated English.
What a take! Well,
most underrated English youngster.
Let's see how he plays when he gets back from injury. But listen, Bruno Fernandes. When he came into that United team, you can't tell me he didn't light up the Prem. He lit it up. It's been a tough year for him.
But I wouldn't want him. I wouldn't want him holding a midfield with Højbjerg.
But he wouldn't. You would just simply be playing a more offensive game. That's how I look at it. You would trust Skippy or Højbjerg, probably not Bentancur, with more defensive responsibility, and you allowed Bruno to push up, probably play behind Kane or something in more of a 10 kind of position.
I don't know.
That's how I would look at it.
It's interesting. I mean, Bruno struggled so much this season.
But the class is there. The class remains. Listen, on his day, he can light you up with some screamers. He can dish some incredible crossfield passes. I wouldn't put him beyond him. But definitely wouldn't make the Prem team of the season.
By the way, Chelsea just scored.
Yeah, come on, lads. Come on. Tell us the score.
TBD.
60th minute,
Probably
Chelsea. But listen, Ronaldo. This is an interesting game.
Marcus Alonso.
You already know. I can already picture it. He's on the left-hand side. He receives the ball. He drills it to the bottom right corner.
Spurs' biggest nightmare, Marcus Alonso.
We'll get to that later. But wow, by the way, flashback to FA Cup a few years back. Do you remember that free kick? I remember that free kick.
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh my god. Right. Okay, but moving on. Is it too early to talk about the Prem team of the season? I don't think so.
Come on.
I don't think so. Let's get to it. Let's get to it.
Prem team of the season. We can alternate if you want. I'll do my defense first. I think.
Want to start with keeper though?
Yeah. I think
Jose Sa goes into that.
Jose Sa is a great shout. I think I don't know. Wolves have been a little weaker.
Allison, obviously.
I would put Allison.
Allison always the smart choice.
And then I think the 4 would have to be Trent, Matip, Van Dijk, Cancelo. I think it's pretty
Yeah.
hard to argue.
I can't really disagree with that team. I've gotten some hate in the past, really questioning Trent's game, but I think the stats speak for themselves this season.
No, yeah.
Liverpool's defense has been rock solid, and Trent's been a pivotal part of that team. Moving on to the midfield, I think it's a Man City trio.
Yeah.
I think it's Rodri, Silva, KDB. I don't
Hard to argue.
I think that's very hard to argue right there.
Yeah, other names, I think, people would mention Fabinho maybe over Rodri, but
Fabinho definitely gets a shout, but
definitely a shout. Conor Gallagher.
Crystal Palace,
Yeah,
excited to have
but
him on Chelsea next season.
I mean, over what KDB, just the form he's in, and Bernardo Silva, consistent all around the season. I think.
By the way, Bernardo Silva, what a goal against Real Madrid!
Yeah.
What a goal, smashing
What
a
a
top
goal.
left corner. Courtois never saw that coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the midfield's pretty hard to debate.
Yeah, I'll take the attack. I think you disagree with me here, and as a Spurs fan, I think first of all it's hard to argue this. Up top, Kane easily. On the wing, left wing, Son. So the Spurs duo, and then Salah on the right wing.
Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna have my own take on that. I think Salah right wing for sure, leading Prem in assists and goals. Speaks for itself. Little debating that. I would put Sadio Mane on the left though. I think he's played very well.
Nah.
Listen, Luis Diaz.
Son 17 non-penalty goals. The assists he's putting up.
I'll make a weird compromise with you though. I'll go Son left. I don't think Kane starts.
Of course, Kane starts. Who's better? Which striker's been better than Kane this season?
I'm gonna say Ronaldo, but then I'm also not gonna say Ronaldo.
You can't say Ronaldo. He just hasn't because he hasn't.
Put Mane in the middle. Mane's been playing in the middle. He played in the middle. He played in the middle last night. He's playing well. He's doing a lot. He's doing a lot.
I'll get. So if I were to offer you to have one number 9 between Kane and Mane, you're taking Mane as a number 9.
Of course not, but we're looking at this. Listen, Kane started off slowly.
Kane, you got to look further than Kane's stats.
First game of the season, Man City, Spurs. Is Kane playing in that game?
Nah, but he played
Son stepped up. I'm not gonna argue with you. Son deserves to be in that team, 100%. Goals speak for itself. Class player.
Ronaldo just scored.
Typical.
Wow.
Is this a sign? Is this a sign for Ronaldo? Is this a sign for Ronaldo to start?
I don't know.
What does that bring him up to? 16 goals this season? 16.
It could be more than that.
16. Okay. Well, while we're getting that
17.
check, 17 goals this season. He's only 5 behind Salah.
Yeah, that's where Sonny is.
And he's comfortably.
Yeah, but United only have, I think, 3 games after this. So, yeah.
It's interesting, but that team of the season.
Ronaldo has a case when you look when you look at the goals, but we've spoken about this. With Kane, you need to look further than 20 goals and assists that he has.
But Ronaldo has been there in the moments. He's grinded out the wins, like we said. Ronaldo. Kane doesn't bear all the weight for that Spurs team. I'm gonna put Ronaldo in it. I take back what I said about Mane. It's a little bit of blasphemy.
So you're going Son, Ronaldo, Salah.
Son, Ronaldo, Salah.
And I'm going Kane, Son, Salah.
Listen, agree to disagree.
And it could change with the last few games of the season.
Definitely, it could change.
Spurs, top 4.
I figured we'd end the pod on a really fun debate. Reminiscing about Chelsea FC when times were simpler, under Antonio Conte, having just won that league title 2016-2017 season, talking about a prime Hazard around the same time, we're talking about a prime Bale with that bicycle kick against Liverpool in the Champions League final, maybe even before, if you guys remember that. I think everyone knows that classic Copa del Rey final goal he had against Barcelona. And then a prime Salah that I think we're watching right before our very eyes.
Yeah, so
start, bench, cut.
Yeah.
Jaffe, take it away.
I don't know. It's so tough. The Bale that I saw on Spurs, I'm biased to say that's the greatest version of Gareth Bale. Just the ability Bale had when I would watch him, when Bale would just get the ball, he was pretty much the sole creator, goal scorer on that team. He did everything for us in that 2011-12 season, I believe, or 2010-2011 when he won PFA Player of the Year. But I think he would pick up the ball, the pace he had, his ability to dribble past defenders. I think shooting-wise, the shot that Bale had, his ability to shift his weight, put the ball in the top left, the UCLs he has, the winner he has.
And by the way,
against
he was
Liverpool.
really able to shine on that
Yeah.
Real Madrid team. It's really hard to stand out
Yeah,
when you're with
starting
Ronaldo.
Bale. I'm starting Bale, and I think between Hazard and Salah, I think it's ridiculous to put Salah there. You know, output wise, he has more than Hazard, but Hazard is just what a magician he was.
Hazard in the
You
Prem.
you can't cut Hazard here, so I would start Bale. Bench Hazard, cut Salah. What about you?
This is hard for me. This is really hard for me because I love Hazard, and I'm so inclined to pick him as a Chelsea fan. I'm thinking about all his classic goals, those ones against Liverpool. He's done a lot. Salah in the Premier League. Hazard. Excuse me, Hazard in the Premier League. Almost unmarkable, giving defenders headaches.
Yeah. And I mean Salah too at times,
Salah too at times, but
breaking the goal scoring record.
But those Hazard runs. Come on, we all remember those. We all remember Hazard just breaking through the lines, so creative, so quick, and at times really put Chelsea on his back.
As a footballer, Hazard in his prime.
As a footballer, there was nothing touching that man. At times he was even in he had shouts to the door. It's a shame what's happened to him at Real Madrid, but Hazard on Chelsea, what a player. It's tough. It's tough because I think about Bale, as you said, he's had some incredible moments for Real Madrid and Tottenham alike. I remember that hat-trick he scored against Inter Milan.
I mean, that's the beginning of
that's
the beginning of Gareth Bale.
That's the beginning of it all. And then I think about his bicycle kick in the Champions League final, the Copa del Rey goal, as I said.
Bale, difficult to pinpoint his prime. So I don't know. It depends how you approach this, but I think Bale just at the peak of his game was just a different player.
I agree. And those free kicks. Wow.
Just a different player.
The left foot on that guy. Oh my days.
Not to add, Bale, if you're comparing Bale and Hazard here, Bale with Wales knocked out Belgium in the Euros. So
it's a big feat.
I would argue that Bale has done more with his country than Hazard has. And Belgium in this quote-unquote golden generation.
I mean, Belgium also did knock out Brazil in the last World Cup.
I mean, what have they done?
Hazard,
what he's done with Wales is more impressive.
Hazard's been instrumental. I think as a Chelsea fan, I just couldn't look at myself the same if I didn't pick Hazard. But yet again, I think Bale. Remember Bale and Neymar, they came to Madrid and Barca around the same time, and they were just so neck and neck. I think it's close. I'm gonna go Hazard. I say Bale right behind him. I would bench Bale, but I think Salah, incredible player, but I just think prime Bale and Hazard were a different breed.
Yeah, different.
But if we are to talk about longevity, excuse me, I think Salah definitely has both of them beat. Salah's really been performing for a while now for Liverpool. And it seems this might be the season where he's finally rewarded with that potentially Champions League quadruple. We say it again and again. We might even talk it into existence. Who knows? But
we'll see.
What a debate.
What a debate
What a debate.
So you guys can chime in.
Feel free to chime in. Let us know. I think we got to head back to this Chelsea United game.
Yeah,
let's
check the score real quick.
Check the score right now. See what's happening here.
Still 1-1.
It's 1-1. I'd like to know that Ronaldo goal. Ronaldo. Wow. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Cheers,
Signing
everyone.
out.